The Forgotten Children of Morning Lake. The secret behind the fog. Our story begins in 1986, behind a thick curtain of fog that descended upon Halstead County. This fog was like a silent, unforgiving shroud, swallowing not just the landscape, but memories as well. It was in this unsettling atmosphere that a school bus, carrying 15 children and a bus driver on a field trip, set out and never returned. There was no crash, no wreckage, no trace left behind. This event was seared into the town's collective memory like a wound, becoming an unsolved legend over the years. Nearly 4 decades later, on an ordinary morning in 2025, everything would change for Deputy Sheriff Lana Whitaker. Lana was one of the children who was supposed to be on that bus. However, she had stayed home that day with chickenpox. This twist of fate had left her with a strange sense of guilt that she carried for years. That morning, a call crackled over the dispatch radio, freezing her in her tracks. A construction crew near Morning Lake Pines had discovered a school bus buried deep in the earth. The plates matched the bus that vanished in 1986. Lana immediately drove to the scene. The sight was chilling. The yellow bus, crushed under the weight of years and covered in mud, looked as if it had been unearthed from a grave. When Lana stepped inside the bus, she was met with the smell of time and decay. The seats were in place. On the floor lay a pink lunchbox and a child's moss-covered shoe. But the bus was completely empty. There were no bodies. This fact made the incident even more mysterious and terrifying. The most shocking discovery was on the dashboard. The class list, written in Mrs. Delaney's cheerful handwriting, was still there. But scrawled over the top of it in red marker, by a darker, sloppier hand, was a note. "We never made it to Morning Lake." This message made it clear that this was not an accident, but something orchestrated by someone. Lana delved into the town's dusty archives and reopened the old case file. The file had been closed with a stamp that read, "No evidence of foul play, presumed lost." 2 suspicious names stood out in the file. The part-time driver Carl Davis, who had been barely vetted and disappeared after the incident, and the mysterious substitute teacher M. Atwell, for whom no records could be found, who had filled in for the regular teacher Mrs. Delaney. That day. Just as Lana was grappling with these old clues, news arrived that would completely change the course of the investigation. A woman had been found in a desolate state by fishermen near the dig site. She was wearing tattered clothes, had no identification, and insisted she was 12 years old. The name this woman, who had been taken to the hospital, gave to the nurse sent a shiver down Lana's spine. Nora Kelly. Lana rushed to the hospital and found her childhood friend, who appeared physically to be in her mid-30s but whose eyes still held that familiar green glint. Nora's first words were, "You got old," and she said she remembered Lana and that she had the chicken pox. This moment proved that the cold case now had a living witness. Nora's memories were fragmented and traumatized. She remembered the beginning of the bus ride, a bearded man waiting at a fork in the road, and the man saying, "The lake isn't ready for us yet." She then recalled waking up in a barn with covered windows where the clocks always said it was Tuesday. The people she called they had given the children new names and forbidden them from talking about the past. One of these people was a man known as Mr. Avery. Nora's description of Mr. Avery and the barn led Lana to an old barn on the outskirts of town, now belonging to a Martin Avery. During her search around the barn, she found a plastic bracelet with the name of one of the children from the bus, Kimmy Leong, etched on it. This was the first concrete evidence corroborating Nora's story. Shortly after, the excavation team found new evidence inside the bus, wedged behind a back panel. A photograph. The photo showed 8 or 9 children standing in front of a wooden building. Their expressions were blank and dull. Nora was among them. In the background, in the shadows, stood a bearded man whose face was obscured by a hat. On the back of the photo was written, "The Chosen, Year 2. This indicated that the children had been held captive for years. Lana showed the photo to Nora. Nora remembered the building and the seasonal progress photos. She also said the shadowed man in the photo was not Mr. Avery, but someone worse, a man who made them call him Father Elijah. Nora didn't know the location of the building, but she remembered sounds, a river, a train whistle at sunset, and the smell of burning pine. These clues led Lana to the abandoned Riverview camp by the river, which had been purchased by the Avery family in 1984. When Lana reached the decaying building at Riverview camp, she saw fresh, small footprints on the ground. Whispers came from inside. Inside the building, she found children's names carved into the walls and a metal box. The box contained disturbing Polaroid photos of the children with new names like Dove and Obedience. As she went upstairs, she came face to face with a timid boy of about 10. The boy said they had named him Jonah, but that he had forgotten his real name. Jonah led Lana to other evidence in the room. Children's drawings on the walls and names that had been burned into the floor. Meanwhile, another, partially burned photograph was found in the bus. The photo showed a child sitting by a campfire, with a caption written underneath, "He stayed, he chose to stay." From the missing list, Lana identified the boy as Aaron Devlin and tracked down a man of the same name and age working for the town's electrical department. When Lana went to Aaron's trailer, she found a man who remembered everything. Aaron even described Lana's childhood backpack. When she asked why he hadn't come forward, Aaron told her the painful truth. He was the one who had stayed behind to survive, reporting those who tried to escape and helping to maintain order. He confessed that he had believed in the group's ideology for years and was afraid of the outside world. He said the group had scattered after a rebellion and a fire that broke out following Father Elijah's disappearance, and that the younger children were taken to different locations. He agreed to take Lana to the first place they were held, the sanctuary. Aaron led Lana to the ruins of the sanctuary deep in the forest. This was a horrific place where children were punished in what they called reflection rooms, which were actually lightless and soundless pits. Amidst the ruins, inside a rusty locker, they found a drawing made by Nora years ago, with the words, "We are still here," written on it. Aaron then spoke of a second location where the younger children were taken after the fire, the Haven. It was a cold, windowless concrete bunker built into a hillside. Inside there was a small sealed room with a plaque that read, "The Garden." According to Aaron, children were kept here until they stopped asking. Inside the garden, Lana found a tape recorder. On it was etched the words, "For the ones who remember." At the station, a faint girl's voice was heard from the tape. The voice did not belong to Nora, but to Kimmy Leong, the girl whose bracelet had been found. On the tape, Kimmy said, "They'll tell you we ran away, don't believe them. We were taken." This tape revived hopes that at least one more child might still be alive. With a map drawn from Aaron's memory, Lana and her team found a hidden hatch under the roots of a lightning-split tree. The hatch opened into a network of underground tunnels. At the end of these tunnels, they came to a sealed wooden door. When Lana knocked, a timid voice came from within. "Is it finally okay to speak again?" When the door was opened, they found a woman in her late 30s who had not seen sunlight for years. When they asked for her real name, she whispered, "Kimmy." This was the owner of the voice on the tape, the owner of the bracelet, the second living witness, Kimmy Leong. Kimmy carried a journal with her. Because she appeared obedient, she had been given the task of keeping records, but she had written the truth in code in the margins. The journal detailed the fates of the other children. Marcy had escaped, Sam had died, Jonah had been transferred. Kimmy, quote, S journal led them with cryptic descriptions like 3 stone trees and a stream that split but never rejoined to a third and final location, Transfer Station 2. Here, underground, they found a room with 15 small desks arranged in a circle. In the center was a book titled The Final Curriculum, filled with lesson plans aimed at making the children forget their memories. A name was repeated constantly. In the book, Cassia. At this station, they discovered a secret room, Room 6, which had been bricked over. On the wall of the room was a mural of a girl running through trees towards the light. Underneath it was written, Cassia remembered. She left the light on for us. Lana connected this final clue with old state records for unidentified children. She found a record for a Jane Doe #19, who was found with amnesia in the early 1990s and later adopted by a family in Morning Lake. The girl's new name was Maya Ellison, and she owned the town's bookstore. Lana went to Maya's shop with the photo of the mural. When Maya saw the picture, she began to tremble, and the memories she thought were dreams came flooding back. Cassia was older than the others and was not just a victim, but a witness. She had managed to escape and had left clues behind so that the others could be found.